Welcome back, dear parents. On behalf of the entire 21K crew, I, Parul Gupta, am extremely elated to extend a very warm welcome to our chief guest of the day, Mr. Jitendra Varvani, Chairman and Managing Director of Embassy Group. Our second chief guest, Mr. Luke Coutinho, a renowned holistic lifestyle coach in the field of integrative medicine. Our special guest, and our keynote speaker and a very famous psychiatrist and a physiotherapist, Dr. Avinash D'Souza. Our special guest, Dr. Himanshu Mehta, an ophthalmic surgeon at Vision Eye Center and Leelavati Super Speciality Hospital. We welcome you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Also, I would like to welcome the four pillars of 21K School, that is the four founders of our school. Mr. Santosh Kumar, the co-founder and the CEO of 21K School, who is an alumnus of IIT Delhi. After over 8 years of working in various IT companies across the globe, he moved in to conquer the edtech world. Mr. Joshi Kumar, the co-founder and the CTO, a technological geek at heart. Mr. Joshi is an alumnus of National University of Singapore, having over 10 years of experience working for Fortune 500 companies. He believes that technology is no less than magic if you explore enough. Mr. Dinesh Kumar, the co-founder and the CMO, with a strong foundation in engineering and a master's degree focused in computer science from the University of Southern California. He is a master of many trades, of which cloud computing, AWS, Unix, C, that's a programming language, and Python are just a few. And Mr. Yashwant Raj Parasbal, the co-founder and the COO of 21K School, a true professional in education management, having over 20 years of experience in the sector. Mr. Yashwant is highly passionate about transforming the way we see education in the country. I would like to welcome a person of paramount importance now, a visionary, the leading lady, the principal of 21K School, Ms. Aruna Shetty. We welcome you all. And now, may I please request the founders of the school to kindly address the audience.
Good morning, everyone. I take an immense pleasure in welcoming you for the new session of 2021. And with this, we start our second year journey of 21K School. Now, many had a question on why 21K. I have only one answer for this. There are a lot of statistics about how the jobs are going to change in the future. We want to see that our students are also aligned in the same way. We want our students to be ready for the future. We are not training them for today, but for the future. Just for examples, whatever jobs we have, 90% of them won't exist in a decade. So what do our kids do? Or how do our kids get trained for the next decade is something which we have been working hard. And last 2 years or last 3 years, we have been working hard to create a system. Through 21K, it's all about experiential and skill-based learning. We want to make sure your kid is ready for the future. We will be improving our technologies and improving our school day by day in order to make sure that we give this learning experience to your kid. With the advent of technology, no longer memorization is going to be a requirement. You will have brain implants also on your kids in 10, 15 years down the line. But what's important for a kid to grow and survive in the age of AI is skill, is the skill requirement and experiential learning to code anything, being a leader, being a strategic thinker. And that's what we wanted to bring it through 21K School. I would now like to pass on the speech to Mr. Dinesh. Dinesh will add some more insights on this. And I give a very warm welcome to our chief guest, Mr. Jitu Virvani. He has been a motivation to a lot of youngsters in today's day. And he has grown from very rags to riches. So we are really inspired, and we are waiting to hear his success story, because we want that inspiration to go to each and every kid of our school. So Dinesh, next to you.
Thanks, Santosh. Very warm welcome to each and every one of you. I'm delighted to thank the presence of our esteemed guest, Mr. Jitendra Virvani, Managing Director and Embassy Group, Mr. Luke Coutinho, a world-renowned holistic lifestyle coach, and our guest of honor, Dr. Avinash D'Souza and Himanshu Mehta. Distinguished principal, respected staff, teachers, and my dear friends, welcome back to 21K School for a new year full of lessons worth learning. I'm honored to be thanking the hard work, patience, and perseverance of our dear teachers without whom you would not have been here. And I also like to thank our co-founders, directors, and principal who have worked tirelessly for the last 1 year to achieve what we have done today. We had an amazing first year. Like we started with nothing. It was just a vision from Santosh and others to, hey, why don't we start an online school? But we didn't know if it will work or not, but we just pressed on and we continued putting our focus on it. And today we are happy to say that we are reaching almost 2,000 students and we are pushing forward for it. And this would not have been possible if if the advent of technology is not there. But thanks everyone for trusting in us. We are committed to providing continued quality education and affordable education. That is our motto, and we'll continue to provide that. And once again, thanks everyone joining. And I will pass it on to Joshi, who will talk about the technological aspects.
Thanks, Dinesh. I think a very warm welcome to everyone, including Mr. Jitu, Mr. Luke, and all other distinguished guests. I think by now all parents would have known me based on the various technical sessions conducted for you. And I'm as excited, I'm as anxious as everything that you feel right now. And do not worry, we are here to help you out. We are here 7 days a week, probably 20 hours a day to help you out with all your questions and everything. And like what Santosh and Dinesh mentioned, it's very important that what we are going to give our kids for the next 10 years. It's important how they upskill themselves, how they're going to be part of this technology, and how they're going to shape up their careers. And we believe that we have started something unique, something not done in India before, and we want to bring this to a global forum and make sure that every child gets a top quality education with 21K School. And over to Mr. Yashwant.
A very warm welcome to all the parents who've joined us today. Most delightfully, I welcome the Honorable Chief Guest and the special guests who joined for this inaugural session of the second academic year. I'm here as a co-founder and taking responsibility for the academics and educational aspect. I want to assure you that with 20 years of experience, I've seen what is really matters in the child's progress and learning, and we are committed to provide that. It's quite unfortunate that our education system tests things that really don't matter in the real world. We're talking about skills and values like empathy, communication, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking, leadership skills. And I think there is no way, there's no system in the world which really can assess the importance of these values and how this could be nurtured in the school. All four of us have been passionately working to get a very good mix of technology and educational aspects to provide this kind of a world-class education to all the students. We may have grown to 2,000 students, but we stay committed to every child in the school. We'll make sure that every child gets a very personalized, flexible learning option in a very transparent way. We have fantastic team of teachers led by Principal Mrs. Aruna Shetty. And I want to assure you one thing, that it's not going to be a smooth ride for all of us. I mean, many of you are new to technology, new to education platform over the online classes. But I can assure you that all of us with our team are committed to make sure that we resolve every issue that comes our way. Technology will not be a problem, will not let overwhelm you with the technology aspects of the education, and the focus will continue to be on the educational aspect. Let me also thank all these students who have been there, part of it, right from the last year, and who have continued to show the trust this year with the continued association of 21K School. I also want to thank the entire team of teachers who have been tirelessly undergoing long training sessions over the last 20-25 days to make sure that they are at the top of the curve when it comes to use of technology and academic practices. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you have a delightful session today. Very inspiring people are lined up to speak to you, share the experience, and it's going to be an amazing start as we begin with the journey of happiest classrooms online. Thank you.
I hereby welcome Mr. Jitu to share his vision and share his thoughts about his journey, his success, and his reality. Yeah, Parul.
Good morning, everybody. Distinguished guest, Dr. Avinash. This is Dr. Himanshu Mehta, dear students and parents and staff members. It's actually a great pleasure to be here. And I'm also, frankly, I'm honored to join you virtually to inaugurate your second academic year. Um, you know, as far as technology is concerned, actually, when I started my career, there was not so much dependence on technology, but as time has gone by, I also like to want to congratulate students who are doing these online classes. They should understand that one, yes, is something is being taken away from them to be in real classrooms, but then also I find always the better part in everything which happens in life is that they are actually going to be people who are be able to adapt in different society in the society in different circumstances. It's a there are people who like me who grew up and there was no online classes, and now there are students who've done both of it through the classrooms and in online learning, which I think will create them into citizens or human beings or people in the world who can adapt to any change. And this kind of experience will actually take them a long way in success, because their whole motivation to be adaptable in different circumstances will be at its peak. Currently, it's a crucial time when considering technology education, virtual schools have allowed you the freedom to continue education. You can have access to good quality education in a country like ours, where even some places, to get to schools is difficult, but online school really makes it easier for education to be spread. And I think primarily, till we don't educate our people, this country will not be a world leader as we want to be. So I really want to thank people, founders of 21K, people who are doing a lot of online education considering this pandemic. I think hats off to them that they've actually shown everybody the how things can be done differently, and we don't have to be cowed down by this, bogged down by this pandemic. And there's a lot to be done. As far as my personal journey is concerned, I mean, I started at a very young age of 19, but I think to be successful, you need to have the hunger. I mean, that's the most important. Hunger, self confidence in yourself, your ability that you can do. Uh, is the most important. And I'm a believer that in our country we have the young generation, which is way ahead from most countries, and the potential of this new generation is far exceeding. And I think as a nation, will in the next 10 years we'll achieve a lot, because of the kind of intelligent people we have, the kind of committed people we have. And these are the things which actually help me grow my business, because like I've mentioned earlier, it's not what field you are in, but how focus you stay on what you need to do, and how humble you stay is more important, because success comes in phases. There are always ups and downs in life, and I've been through quite a few of them actually. But of course, though, financially only once, and I learned my lesson. So my advice to most of you youngsters is that never be overconfident. Keep the hunger. Keep your direction on what you're doing and what you want to achieve. And I don't know. I mean, I think success will just come by your way. And we managed to build a large real estate company, and I think it's still lots more to do in it. But the company's contribution of teamwork, I always say that you need a team, otherwise you can be the most intelligent person, you have the most knowledgeable person, but without a team, you're a big zero. So it's very important to take your team along with you. What has actually helped us at Embassy is also empowering people which has been important. And of course, now I have my kids in the business, so we've now tried growing along with technology. And way back, Nandan Nilekar is a good friend of mine, and he mentioned, Thomas Friedman, who wrote the book "The World Is Flat" in 2005. Actually, when he visited Infosys office and met Nandan, had mentioned that, had told him that the playing field is now become flat because and level because of technology. So don't think that if you have a disadvantage, but if you are going to use technology to your advantage, I think that there is going to be huge success for you in the coming years. Um, a few tips I can give you, because the way my journey has panned out, and we've done things differently, but I think the key factor has been that we focused on what we want to do is real estate. So there's a lot of tendency of people to waver from what they actually do and start focus. And then when you're successful, you get a lot of people who actually tempt you to do different businesses. So I think that's the key factor is to stay on your path. And I think success will come automatically. So, and this pandemic probably has taught all of us that, our needs are less, but also how to keep cost control. I think some of the cost control methods which has happened in this pandemic was anywhere required. And we're actually using this pandemic to have those cost controls. So I just say that, be frugal, be nimble, be focused, and success will come your way, whatever it may be. Also, as you grow, financial institutions like banks, a big reason of success. I mean, honestly, my success journey has been successful because I've been helped by a lot of banks, especially the HDFC Bank. And I think, if you use capital from PE investors, bankers, and use the money for what is required, I don't think so that you'll have any problem in growing your business. Even if you have a problem, I think banks will bail you out and PEs will bail you out, make you successful. I just want to congratulate all the new and returning students, who've backed into this program, and I hope you already feel that you have incredible opportunities, it's new tools and online to use for your success. And I wish all of you all the best. If anything is there from as far as the embassy group is concerned, if anybody wants to look at internships and wants to actually really learn everything down on the streets, is welcome to write to me. Just for your information, like two of my boys who are in the business, I actually inducted them by making them shadow work, and I know exactly what needs to be done, because in our country, it's a little bit of blend of relationship, which is most important, and of course, finally getting down to do what you need to do. So keep focused on mainly your hunger, because that will drive everything, and relationship building is the key to your successful business. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for taking out time from your busier schedule and gracing the occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jitendra Varvani, a man who doesn't require any introduction as he is a well-recognized figure of the word. Mr. Jitendra Varvani is the founder of Stonehill International School, India's leading IB school, and also the chairman and the managing director of the Embassy Group. Embassy Group has a mixed portfolio of more than 62 million square feet developed across the country. Starting at a very early age of 19, Mr. Varvani has been at the helm of affairs of the company and seen his vision for the world-class property development organization, both in terms of size and excellence, transformed into reality. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us today. And now, let me take the honor of introducing our second chief guest of the day, a globally renowned holistic lifestyle coach in the field of integrative medicine, Mr. Luke Coutinho. He is the founder of Luke Coutinho Holistic Healing System, a company that focuses on integrative medicine, disease, preventive medicine, and coaching. The company has its main presence across India, Dubai, Middle East, Africa, UK, and the US. Mr. Coutinho is also an advisor and head of the Integrative Lifestyle and Nutrition at Pure Nutrition. Mr. Luke has also authored a range of books on wellness and has a few bestsellers to his credit. His most recent release is a digital book with the famous actress Shilpa Shetty Kundra, The Magic Immunity Pill Lifestyle, a free gift to India and the world. May I please request Mr. Luke Coutinho to kindly illuminate us with his ideas?
Hi, good morning. Hello?
Yes,
Yes,
you're
you're
audible.
audible. You're audible, Mr.
Oh, great. Good morning. Good morning. I thought I had a problem with my phone. Great. I hope everyone's doing well.
Yes, thank you. It's a webinar, so you might not get responses, Luke.
Got it. Yeah. No, at least to who I'm speaking to. Yeah. Yeah. Hi, good morning, everyone. And thank you for having me on this platform today. Something very close to my heart is, of course, the health of children, the well-being of children. And while the world continues to look at health as just diet and nutrition and what's good for our kids and that sugar is bad for our kids, I think it's way more than just nutrition. It's what we feed the minds and the emotions of our children as well. In my line of work over the last couple of years, we've had tons of children and parents that we coach all over the world. And it comes down to one thing. It doesn't matter whether you live in the US, Africa, India, it comes down to one thing. Your child is a bio individual with a unique makeup. Now, this unique makeup requires nutrition specifically for that body type, for the kind of energy that child has, the environment, where they live, the geography, the temperature. All of these play a huge role in the health of your child. And today, I'm happy that schools are now looking, especially this particular platform is actually looking at the health of children, because while we educate children, it's also their health that takes them a long way. I'd like to give you an example. We have so many students who have done so well for themselves academically. They're in the best universities across the world, but along the way, they lose their health. And while you may have the best education, if we don't have the best health, it kind of breaks down the process along the way. So we are all for integrative health, where yes, our children learn to be the best versions of themselves with the best skills, the best education. But parallelly, what are the little things that we can do to build their health? And it's never complicated until we begin to lose our health. You know, a lot of parents today are obsessed about health, and we try to do way too much for our kids, but it really comes down to simplicity. Of course, if a child has a particular condition, the approach is completely different. But if we're just looking at cultivating health in our families, amongst our children, it comes down to 4 very simple paradigms, which we will talk about in today's session. So I look forward to adding value and making impact to our entire audience who is going to be listening to us for the next 1 hour.
Thank you, sir. This was indeed inspiring. You have really motivated us by sharing your expertise and knowledge. I'm sure the parents have many questions and would like to address a few of them. May I call our school principal, Ms. Aruna Shetty, to share some of the common questions asked by parents and request Mr. Luke if he could kindly answer them.
Thank you.
So, hi, Luke. A very warm welcome to you on behalf of all at 21K. So, dear parents, Luke's approach towards prevention and healing revolves around 4 important pillars: balanced nutrition, adequate exercise, quality sleep, and emotional detox. Understanding how overwhelming it can be sometimes to get to decide what to cook for kids while also having to juggle between work and household chores. Luke has many quick recipes as well as nutrition programs for children. I am sure You have many questions regarding nutrition, habits, mental health, etc. of your children. Let us seek some answers from the Guru himself. Luke, if you're ready to answer, my first question to you: how to develop mindful eating practices in kids so they are better in tune with themselves, their appetite, hunger, and satiety cues?
Good morning, ma'am. Thanks for having me. And that's a great question. And my answer would be parents have to lead by example, because children are constantly looking at what they do or what we do. So if we're hurrying through a meal, they begin to think that's the right way to eat. If we're looking at our phones, watching TV while we're trying to hurry through a meal, they expect to do the same thing. I think mindful eating is something that has to be taught through example, and I think children learn best through examples that we set as parents. There's no way you can go and sit down a child today and say, listen, take 6 deep breaths before your meal. Now focus on every bite, do all of that stuff. No, it's going to go over their head. But when they see us doing it, and because we're eating slowly and we tell our children, listen, I'm eating slowly because I have teeth. When I chew my food, I break down the food into smaller particles. I can absorb nutrition. When I absorb nutrition, I grow stronger and stronger. I grow healthier. My hair grows better. I have more energy to play football. I have more energy to play basketball. So we always teach children mindfulness through example. When they see us rush, they begin to think it's a way of life. When they see us slow down, but we want to teach children both ways. Sometimes we are going to be rushed. Okay, let's be in a practical world where we are going to be rushed. So even if I am going to finish my meal, for example, really quickly in 10 minutes because I have a line of patients waiting for me, I am going to explain to my daughter that today, daddy doesn't have time, but still I'm going to chew faster. But remember, it's not the right way to eat. At dinner time, remind daddy to be mindful again. Involve them in the process. Children love to be involved. They don't like to be told. So we have simple bets that if you see mommy or daddy eating fast, then you get 10 points. Or you get 20 points. And if we see you eating fast, then we get 10 points. They like challenge. They like to be involved. So mindfulness is what they see around. You can never force a child to be mindful without leading by example. But mindfulness is everything for a child, because believe me, today, many children are deficient in vitamins. And that's because they eat too quickly. We have enough of science showing us if the food isn't chewed the right way, we may think we're eating healthy, but we're not absorbing the food the right way. It has to mix with the saliva. So what our grandparents taught us about, chewing 32 times, okay, we're not going to really count, but the whole idea is eat slowly, chew your food. Now I may have a 15-minute break. That's still fine. I can still chew my food. I just chew it a little bit faster, but I chew. And with mindfulness, the culture is not just about chewing. It's about when you're eating, be calm. Okay, be calm, because your body is receiving food. We can break down food when we're calm. When we're angry, the body isn't designed to absorb food, and then we create more acids. So these are little things that we can teach and emulate to our children by, leading by example.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. I think 21K resonates with what Luke says when we say that model what you do, your actions speak louder than your words. So that brings us on to the next question, Luke. How to cultivate a habit of daily exercise and movement in kids? What are some of the exercises we can get them to do in a safe way?
Okay, so great. So I always like to look at a problem from reverse. Why do children not want to work out? Or why are they sedentary today? And let's remove those triggers. So number one, if we're giving them too much of screen time is designed to keep you hooked to the screen. So the least important thing becomes activity, because dopamine, everything that you're watching on television, kids pro, whatever it is, it stimulates dopamine and it keeps you attracted to that. Now, to break a child away from a dopamine, attraction is very difficult. As humans and adults, we struggle to do it ourselves. So imagine with children. So I'm not against screen time. I'm for monitoring how much time you give them and what they do in between. So again, I like to talk with example. I have a 7-year-old daughter, and if she wants screen time, which she gets like half an hour of TV time a day, okay, what does she do before the 30 minutes? She does her 15 minutes of activity. So whether it's yoga, jumping jacks, the beauty for children is movement is exercise. It's even for adults. If we're active, it's exercise. So they can run, they can do jumping jacks, they can do a little bit of yoga. Children love to run. They like to expend energy by running. So they can just run up and down. It may not make sense to you, but it's movement for the heart. Now, sometimes, what if they're watching a movie which could be 2 hours? Pause the movie 1 hour. Let them go get a cup of water, do 3 or 4 squats. These are family cultures. If you want TV, you got to do this. This is how we do it. Discipline is the foundation of everything in life, you know? So, and the beauty is children don't have a problem doing that. If they know that, hey, I can continue watching TV if I pause and I do this, you know, they're involved in the process. So I think the more we sit is the dangerous part for human health, children and adults. So if I'm going to sit and enjoy a 2-hour, 3-hour movie, the problem is not the movie. The problem is me sitting. So how do I take breaks in between and, you know, keep myself active? Some of the best exercises for children, dance, even just put on music and let them dance. For 15 to 20 minutes, they got their exercise. Of course, certain children have specific needs. If they have a particular disability or they have weak muscles, then there are specific exercises that you would want to explore as a parent to strengthen either their core or their weak legs or their weak muscles. But movement is exercise for more kids. The more you see your kids sitting sedentary, the more you know that they need activity. And these are little activities that children can do. Always find an activity for children that they like doing. So then you don't have to motivate them to do it. What you like doing, you automatically do it. It's the same for adults as well. You know, find something that you enjoy doing so that you don't have to be motivated to do it. And that's how we build activity into the lives of children.
I guess what you're saying, Luke, also matters to us adults, where most of us have now, because of this pandemic, we've started leading a more sedentary lifestyle. So I think reminding ourselves time and again to get up and make those, you know, 1 hour, take those 1 hour breaks. We forget when we start working that, you know, we have extended hours of sitting. And yes, it's actually a good reminder for us all, not only for the children here. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. The pandemic has also taken a toll on the mental wellness of kids. There is a social disconnection, annoyance from wearing masks, so many restrictions, etc. And parents don't often acknowledge this. How can we handle the emotional health of kids in a better way?
Okay, this is a great question, and we've already counseled like so many students and parents around this. You know, before we move into a specific problem, because problems will be different in everyone's household according to the way, you know, like, for example, we have households where the news is playing 24/7 and children are seeing fear on the parents' face. And children are absorbing these fears and insecurities because parents are constantly talking about, oh, now children are dying or children are getting it. And the thing about children, even young teenagers, they look at their parents to see, number one, how they react. Because a child looks to the parent for security. The moment they feel that the security of a parent or an adult is threatened, they feel threatened. They may not show it, but unconsciously they do it. You'll find that bedwetting increases, fears increase, you know, a distinct change in children's behaviors. So we have to understand that there are certain pieces of information that are not meant for children today, you know, especially when it affects us so much. Children aren't ready for that. So if there is something being discussed at home in regards to the pandemic or deaths that are happening, do it behind closed doors. Do it when your children aren't there. At the same time, it's nice to keep your children aware of what's happening. That yes, there is a problem. That's why we need to take care of it. Whenever we state a problem to a child, we must also give them a solution so that they don't remain in fear. So yes, it's real. There are deaths happening. It's affecting kids. But now what can we do as a family to stay safe? Okay, social distancing, wearing a mask, boosting our immunity, eating the right foods, cutting down sugar. So children, whenever we give a solution with it, they feel more calm. So that's extremely important. Two, I don't want parents to ever forget, or children, that we have the ability to adapt. We should never forget this. But because of our fear and anxiety, we forget that human beings have that innate ability to adapt. We can adapt to the worst of circumstances if we allow ourselves to. But when fear and anxiety comes in, we block every natural mechanism of the human body. So there are loads of children who are adapting to the new way everyone is. And there are some people who are finding it very, very difficult because they see resistance to it. Constantly, the problem at home is, oh no, we can't go out. Oh no, we can't meet our friends. Oh no, we can't do this. So we build a problem which already exists into a bigger problem. But we understand right now, nothing is forever. Things will change for the better or the worse, we don't know. And that's what we need to teach our children. The entire world, we're all going through this together, okay? But show them light at the end of the tunnel, because if we don't show them light, they remain in darkness all the time. So anxieties are built in our own environments by us. There are a ton of children who are using this lockdown beautifully. A lot of kids don't ever want to go back to school. They love the proximity to their parents. They love the fact that they don't spend 2 hours in traffic going to school. A lot of kids have expressed to me that, Luke, we don't even get bullied anymore in school. I mean, these are real problems that make you think, that is there a new paradigm of education in the future? And there are children, again, who I can't do without my friends. I need my friends and all of that stuff. So everyone reacts differently. Now, of course, keep your children connected with your friends as far as you can, whether it's through Zoom, they talk on the phone. That interaction has to be there because children need that social interaction. And it will get better. When it gets better, they'll meet their friends. But look at the silver lining. There's always a silver lining. Our children are also learning through this phase to be okay without being in touch with people all the time, which is also a huge lesson, and it makes us strong. If they see us distraught that, it's affecting us, it will affect them. But for all of us, it's a learning and maybe a signal that maybe before the pandemic, people were over socializing. Children had 3 to 4 birthday parties in an evening to attend, which is not normal for children. It's absolutely not normal. So there's a new way that we're learning right now, and every problem can be packaged in a different way with a solution. If there's no solution, it stays as fear and anxiety. So emotional wellness is always up to us. It's not up to what's happening in the world. Imagine today it's the pandemic. If we're constantly connected, our emotions are connected with the outside world. Every time something changes, we're going to be affected. So we need to teach our children and ourselves to be emotionally grounded within. No matter what's happening, how do we respond to it? From what space of calm do we respond to it? So this pandemic can actually teach us to be emotionally strong, which is a requirement for our children to develop along with education.
So you very rightly said, Luke, you also talked about, how the children and how we all are learning to adapt. And I think 21K is one of the prime examples of how beautifully children have adapted to the virtual school, where, life just goes on as normal as it would in the physical setup. So yeah, it is, I think adaptability comes easy, but we should be risk takers for that. True. Let's move on to the next question, Luke. Now, we know that children often throw tantrums. One of the most important questions, concerns that parents have nowadays is how do you handle tantrums thrown by kids? Tell us what works for you and several other parents that you coach.
Okay, so now let's understand a tantrum. How many adults throw tantrums as well, right? It comes down to attention. When you want attention, you throw a tantrum. Adults throw tantrums all the time when they want attention, when they feel they're not being acknowledged. It's the same thing with children. Now, if the tantrums are more, we have to reflect. And it doesn't make the parent a bad parent, but if your children are constantly doing it, we have to reflect and introspect on what has led, what behavior have we allowed to progress that it becomes a tantrum all the time. So if you've been used to, spoon feeding your child every time they go to a shopping mall, you buy them what they want. And now all of a sudden you decide to stop doing that. Obviously, they are going to throw a tantrum. And it's a process that you slowly break down with them with understanding, which is why the actions of parents are directly connected with the tantrums that we throw. Of course, I understand parents want to work. Parents are ambitious today. Everyone wants to do all of that stuff. Do what you want. But if it is sacrificing the attention that you're giving your child, you got to be ready for the tantrums as well. Because children want attention, period. No matter what. The world may be changing. We may think we're getting more cooler and hip and technology savvy, but human emotion and DNA hasn't changed since the time of the cavemen, and it isn't going to change. So as much as we want it to change for our convenience, it isn't. And most of the children who go through poor emotional stability are the ones who don't have attention. Now, you can be the busiest person. Okay, the attention that you give your child doesn't have to be in quantity. It has to be in quality. You can give your child 30 minutes of undivided time. And in most cases, it's enough. But you could be giving them 2 hours, but checking your phone all the time, answering a call, all of that stuff. It doesn't work. It's quality of attention over the quantity of attention. So I think adults want attention. Most adults do what they do because they want attention. So your children want it even more. And if they don't get attention from parents, they're going to get it from someone else. We have to understand this fact. They're going to get it from your driver. they're going to get it from someone else outside, they're going to get it from a family member outside of your family or a friend. And you got to be careful of these things today. Very, very careful of these things. So the whole point, coming back to attention and tantrums, you asked me my personal question. I'll be honest with you. Okay, I'm not trying to show you, that I'm a good parent. I have not seen a single tantrum from my daughter. My wife has seen 2 or 3 when I travel. What I think has worked for me, my personal story, when my wife was in her 9th month of pregnancy, everyone starts saying, oh, Luke, now you're going to have a child, your life's going to change. Then there's going to be the terrible 2s and there's going to be the terrible 3s and all of that. And in my mind, I was like, maybe that's your story. It doesn't have to be ours. Okay, I'm not going to fill my mind with what's happening in your life. The beauty is, I think that kind of positive thinking and, going with an open mind, we've not seen terrible 2s, we've not seen terrible 3s. We don't know about the teenager. And if we face it, we'll deal with it at that point. But parents should not have preconceived notions about their children. They should never think that this is going to be their journey, because we manifest what we think of. I think attention, security, allowing communication between your child is what can reduce tantrums over time. And sometimes tantrums can also, in very rare cases, be caused because of chemical imbalances. If a child has less serotonin because they have extreme gut issues, some children are on antibiotics for the right reasons, but it depletes their gut. And if you're not working on their gut health, they have an immediate change in their emotional health. They get irritable, tantrums. So there are many spectrums to look at tantrums from, but it really comes down to the attention that we give our children.
Right. I guess it is all about even observing certain areas which we are not aware of, like you just said. The gut, I think, also plays a very important role in the tantrums
Absolutely.
of the child. Yes, so thank you so much for that. Well, let's move on with understanding another very important aspect, that the generation today is often bored. They seek constant entertainment. A parent is usually rather clueless about how to handle boredom in kids. Is there a positive side to getting bored?
So I think there should be a subject in school where children are allowed to get bored. Because out of boredom comes creativity. We should always know that. There can be no creativity when the human mind is constantly thinking or doing or absorbing entertainment. I think a lot of children need to be allowed to get bored. And of course, because parents are busy and we have a genuine problem, parents are working at home and they need to do their work as well. So a bored child might as well just give them some entertainment to keep them entertained. It's not the entertainment that keeps the child addicted to entertainment. It's the dopamine in the brain of the child. There's no way you can replicate a virtual, life in real life. So normal life begins to become boring when you have too much of life in the virtual world, which is why screen time, the kind of stuff you allow your kids, the kind of games you allow them to play, games work on dopamine, level 1. I want level 2. I want level 3. Now you can't get that fix and challenge in life in reality. So that's when children want more and more and more of that, because it's dopamine makes us feel good at the end of the day. But we have to understand that when our children say they're bored, it's okay. What's wrong with bored? Why should we try to fix that problem all the time? When you go back 10, 15 years, our summer holidays and all of us, you're 2 months at home. There was nothing to do. You figured it out. And creativity comes out of boredom. Creativity comes out of boredom in all ways. So I think there's a silver lining to boredom, and we should make the attempt not to just dump more entertainment on them. If we can give them projects or something else to do. And the beauty is children grumble at first, but then they eventually start doing. And that's what discipline is about. Discipline is not about being strict and rigid with our children. It's about, fine, you want to watch TV, you do this. It's as simple as that. You don't have to get angry about it. So I think boredom is great, and boredom is needed because every child and every teenager is what's next? What's next? And parents have to understand today it's entertainment. Tomorrow it's going to possibly be alcohol. When the alcohol doesn't work, it's going to be drugs, from soft to hard. That's what we see in all teenagers and children. It's not about the addiction. It's about the attachment to the high. And after a while, human beings are always searching for the next thing to get them high, or the next thing to keep their dopamine levels going. So we have to control this at a level right now. It's like adults. Before, socializing was every weekend. Now they don't have it. Okay, but you're learning also to be okay with no socializing. You have a nice balance. Before it was socializing on the weekends. Now it's socializing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's always something to do. You see, the human mind keeps looking. So you got to balance this in your children and teenagers right now before it becomes uncontrollable. Boredom is absolutely okay. Channel creativity in boredom. I think it's beautiful.
So Luke, based on that question that you addressed earlier about tantrums, so there is a question from a parent who asks, when the tantrums are thrown only at one parent and with the other parent the child is normal, how do you deal with that?
Depends on what kind of tantrum is being thrown. Sometimes children manipulate, they're excellent. So if the mom is saying no and the dad is saying yes, obviously the tantrum will be thrown towards the mom. So those kind of tantrums have to be only sorted with the parents being on the same page about what decisions they make. It can't be like the dad is strict about food, but the mother is like, you know, your dad's not here, let's eat something. Because the child is going to figure out where they get the easy way out. Now, if it's happening also specifically with one parent, you also have to look at what that one parent is doing. It's always, we have to always reflect. It's not about us being wrong. I always tell parents, we never get trained to be parents. So we are going to make mistakes. We're never going to be the perfect parent, but we can learn. We can learn from our mistakes. We never learn to be parents. We never learn to be married. These are journeys that we learn along the way. So we have to introspect. We have to introspect and see, what am I doing differently? You know, involve your husband, involve your wife. Communication is where you find most of your answers. We shouldn't be emotional that, oh, am I the bad mom? Am I the bad dad? Oh, you're the cool dad. I'm the cool mom. You're the strict dad. All of that's not going to solve the problem. Communicate as parents, figure out where the problem is. There is always a root cause to any problem. And that's what you need to put your finger on. And then you will find the solutions automatically.
What are the absolute essentials in a kid's eating plan that can help them cope with diseases and infections better? Simple tips without making nutrition sound complicated to them.
The simplest tip is, as adults and as kids, your plate needs to look like a rainbow. Colors. How can you get more colors on your plate? Because by getting more colors on your plate, you know you're getting vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, everything that you need. We look at our macronutrients. Of course, you need carbohydrates. Yes, you need fats. And yes, you need protein. So when I look at my plate, do I have my whole grains or my complex carbs? Do I have my vegetables? Do I have my protein? Whether you're vegetarian, non-vegetarian, that's completely up to you. In my day, am I getting my good fatty acids from my nuts? Whether it's almonds, whether it's pistachios, whether it's pumpkin seeds. So do I have a portion of nuts and seeds if I'm not allergic to it? Maybe it goes in my oats, maybe I eat it plain. I'm looking at a balanced diet. If there's a child who has a medical problem, of course, your diet will change according to your condition and the medication that you're on. Very important to change your diet when you're on medication, because every medication has a side effect. What are these side effects? Depletion of certain vitamins and minerals. If you're able to put that back into your child's body, at least the side effect doesn't become dangerous. Now, for everyone else balanced, we look at our whole grains. We look at our lentils, which are your dals. You look at your legumes, which are your chanas, your rajmas, your beans, all of that. You look at your protein, veg, non-veg. If you're vegetarian, it doesn't matter. You get it from your paneer, your dairy, your nuts, your seeds, your green leafy vegetables, your legumes, your lentils. If you're non-vegetarian, you get it from your fish, your eggs, your chicken, your meat, depending on where you live in the world and what you like. Your fats, there are good fats and bad fats. You're doing your refined oils, it's creating inflammation in your body. You're going to healthy fats that come from nuts. You're doing your pure olive oils, your cold pressed coconut oils, your pure ghees. Your oils must be wood churned or cold pressed. It's sad that we've used refined oils for the longest time, but we know today refined oils cause inflammation slowly over the years. Okay, before refined oils came into the market, everyone used wood churned oils. In your village, you would go, the mill would produce oil, you would use that. We need to go back to our roots. So it comes over there. So when I say rainbow, okay, we don't have to do fancy salads. A lot of children, when they see green leaves and lettuce, they get turned off. A salad could be as simple as cucumber, beetroot, and carrot. 3 different colors, beautiful, grate it, cut it in roundels, cut it in fun shapes, that's up to you. But let the plate look colorful. Then you know that you are getting your vitamins, your minerals, your nutrients, and all of that stuff. Stay away from extremes, extreme diets. Don't give your kid that, don't give your kid this. Of course, you want to limit white sugar. It's destructive to the human body. I'm not here to say you should get off sugar completely. Of course, grow up with balance. But if you find that your child's diet is more of carbohydrates and more of sugar, like people constantly have pastas, that's carb heavy, and then there's less activity, you're going to see your child's weight increase. And that's not a good thing for your child. So balance in nutrition, it's as simple as possible. Superfoods, they're not necessary because most of the food that nature gives you is a superfood in its own way. Superfood is a way of making an ingredient more expensive. It's as simple as that. Now, I would use a specific superfood if I have a child with leukemia. Yes, I may ask the parent, please get goji berries because I need this particular activity of this polyphenol to work at a blood level. But other than that, we're looking at balance. Balanced nutrition, simple nutrition. The question I tell parents is, if you were not sick when you were a child, okay, the same food that your parents fed you is the same food you should be feeding your kids. It's as simple as that. Work for you will work for your children. Just because other people on social media will show a lot of parents doing fancy stuff and all of that. No, there's nothing wrong with those parents, but you don't have to be that parent. If your child's already healthy and things are working, why change? Why do we need to constantly keep changing when things are already working for us? So keep it as simple as possible, as wholesome as possible. Teach your children to read nutritional labels, so you never have to say no to them. So if I've told my daughter, I'm not going to tell my daughter that Coca-Cola is bad for you. I'm going to teach her to read the ingredients and say, these ingredients are not good for you. And then so she looks at the ingredients and she decides that, hey, this ingredient's not good for me. It doesn't matter whether it's Coca-Cola or Pepsi or whatever it is. She's not going to have it. So there are many ways to teach our children, involve them in the process, let them make decisions for themselves. Okay, they will still eat junk food. You were a kid, you ate junk food, but they will do it with awareness. They will do it with awareness. Anything done with awareness is far better than when we do things mindlessly. That harms us. It becomes addictive in nature. So diet is as simple as that for children. Keep it wholesome. Your child is lactose intolerant, it's a no-brainer. You can't give them dairy. They're gluten intolerant, keep gluten out of their diet. It's as simple as that. But you don't have to take a child who can have dairy and can have gluten and remove it from their diets completely because the whole world is doing it. It's not necessary. So, make an informed decision when it comes to your children. I used a word at the beginning, which is called bio-individuality. Every child and every human being, every one of you are unique in your own ways. What works for someone doesn't have to work for you. And you need to find your path with nutrition, something that suits you. Am I healthy? Is my child growing up the right way? Healthy weight, active, sleeping well at night, good energy, no aches and pains. Great, the diet's working perfectly fine. I don't have to make any changes. So that's what we need to do when it comes to diet.
Sure. Now, also when we talk about, diet is of course an important component in everyone's life. So is exercise. Now, is there any way where we can teach mind-body practices like yoga, meditation to kids at an early age?
I think yoga is great because of flexibility, and children learn best when they're young, and plus because they're sitting more now because of homeschooling and all of that stuff, it's good for them to be flexible so their muscles open. And we need to understand a flexible body grows better in terms of posture, height, everything else. So yes, getting a little bit of yoga, fun asanas. There's so much of kids yoga happening on YouTube, done in a fun way, because you got to add the fun element to children. Mindfulness, I don't think we need to teach them. We need to learn from children mindfulness instead. We shouldn't be too rigid about children being mindful, but yes, getting them to eat an orange, with their eyes closed. That's the best exercise. I love doing it with kids. Blindfold them. Okay, now eat an orange. Tell me, what do you feel? How does it feel when you bite into it? Taste that kind of juice. And most children do that. They say, Dad, this orange juice tastes so much different than Tropicana. There, a lesson learned right then. Yeah, that's not real orange juice. What you're having is real orange juice. So mindfully, get them to eat mindfully. Get them to take up a project and mindfully complete it. If they watch a TV program, even if it's like whatever it is, like My Little Pony or whatever, okay, it may not make sense to us, but after that, 5 minutes, ask your children, what did you learn from this? What's your takeaway from this? Okay, so they mindfully start watching with awareness. There may be a little thing that they can take away from it, but there's always something. And that's how you make that 30 minutes or 1 hour of TV time useful for them. Not just it was useless TV. What did you learn from this? What made you laugh? These very short reflective questions teach children how to be mindful either ways. Problems, involve them in problems. That, hey, we have this problem and stuff. And ask children like, what do you think, what would you do if you were that? You'll be amazed with the answers that you give because they're mindfully thinking about the challenge you put in front of them. So these are simple ways. I wouldn't make them sit cross-legged and mindfully focus on their breath and stuff. No, adults struggle with it. It's not the way for kids to learn right now. Let them just be in their own element. In nature, you will find children to be the most mindful. So if you can expose your children to nature, it's unbelievable how they connect to it. They'll look at bugs which they've never seen before, get interested about it. They want to YouTube it, Google it, involve them in the process, and they just bloom, without us having to try too much, is my experience of the whole thing. Yeah.
So there is a question from a concerned parent over here who says that my kid doesn't concentrate and becomes very difficult to make him do any one activity even for 5 minutes. And that makes it a little difficult for us to cope with his energy. He also gets angry at small things, and he's just 3.5 years old, but his angry nature worries me. So how do you think children of that age who are having, all of these issues, how do you get them to be mindful?
See, I don't have an answer for that. I can come in from the medical part of it, the lifestyle part of it, where when we notice children demonstrate these behaviors, of course, I know teachers have their own way of dealing with this. I don't know how to do that. But yes, we have noticed children who have a deficiency in vitamin B12, vitamin D3, tend to get aggressive, tend to find it difficult to concentrate on one thing. At the same time, we also have to look. There are children who are 2 years old who are having Coca-Cola. Okay, and all of these stimulants that contain caffeine and high amounts of sugar, which gives you a sugar rush. And when the sugar rush comes down, the child gets extremely irritable. So sugar plays a major role. If you are giving your child a lot of sugar, they are having sugar rushes. And when the sugar rush comes down, they tend to get aggressive. They tend to have ADHD-like symptoms, not necessarily ADHD. So we have to look at these kind of behaviors. I've also noticed a common trend. And of course, I'm not talking about the parent who's asked this question. I don't know the parent. Children who sleep late at night, who watch a lot of TV and sleep, they have very disturbed cycles of sleep. The next day, they are disoriented. They cannot focus. Adults, if we're sleep deprived, we can't focus. Imagine children. And it's becoming a growing trend for children to sleep at 10, 10:30, 11. It's, forget about nutrition. If your child is sleep deprived, you have the biggest problems ever. The biggest problems ever, from immunity to inflammation to growth to cognitive health and everything else. Children need to sleep on time, period. It doesn't matter, whatever. Children need to get in bed on time, and they got to wake up at whatever time. Most children are sleep deprived today. And it's happened, especially during the pandemic. They don't have school, so they're sleeping at 11, 12. Weekends, children sleep at 1 and 2 in the morning. You need to know that is destructive to your child. It is absolutely destructive. Sugar, we can manage. Sleep deprivation, you cannot. There's no Band-Aid that you can put over it. So there are many things that we would look at. Of course, does the child have siblings? Okay, is there a newborn in the house where the newborn is getting more attention and now the child wants more attention, so starts getting angry? So there are many, I can't be very specific with my answer, but I hope that what I said allows that parent to introspect and see that if these things could possibly connect to what my child is. And then again, some children are just different. They're just different. Okay, and we have to accept that. We can't compare all our children to being calm and aggressive. They're beautiful. They may be aggressive now. They may turn out to be the calmest children a year later. So we should allow space for children's behaviors as well. If it becomes consistent, then get it checked up. But please don't be that parent with the slightest thing. You compare and see, oh, that child is so good. My child is weird. Let me book an appointment with the shrink. Don't ever do that. Ever do that and make your child feel like they have a problem. Everyone is different. You reflect on you as a child. Were you perfect at every stage in your life? The answer is no. And of course, don't miss symptoms, because early detection of symptoms, you can use professional help. But if you're the parent that's constantly comparing yourself and you want that perfect child, you are being unreasonable in your expectations. So you got to be careful with that as well. General answer to everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. We also often get, parents, if a child is, the movement is a little more than normal, they often come and say, oh, my child is ADHD. And, so they term their child, they categorize their child that he is ADHD. So, yeah.
I would like to add to that. I want to give you an example. So I had this mother who brought a child to me when the child was 2 years old. 2 years old. Diagnosed with broad spectrum autism. Child was not meeting the milestones, all of that stuff. So the parent was trying to follow the US standard of milestones. The Indian doctor was saying that's wrong. These are our milestones and stuff like that. We got a blood test done. The B12 was the lowest ever. The D3 was 2, which is critically low. We bumped up the levels over time. The child started to meet the first early milestones at the age of 2.5. The child is 4 years old today, no longer in the spectrum of autism at all. She was just slow. She had vitamin deficiencies and she was slower, but today she's like any normal child. The moment we put a label, we create limitations, complete limitations. We believe that, oh, autism, let's Google it. My child is going to be like this forever. ADHD, oh no, my child is going to be. Maybe they have the symptoms right now, but believe in change. Every human body, it's like a 4th stage cancer patient. Okay, as per the medical data, 4th stage means you will die in 1 year. There are millions of people in 4th stage who are living their 10th and 15th year today. It's not for us to decide how our children turn out. We take the right action, but we also leave it open for them. We allow for their own improvement and intelligence of their own bodies to kick in. So we must have a very open mind to our children, very, very open mind.
So true. Now, I think when you're looking at children when they reach the age where they have to start schooling, I think one of the key areas would be focus and concentration in kids, where I think every parent has that issue that, my child doesn't focus, my child doesn't concentrate. So what do you think would be some of the common reasons for decline in attention span in children as well as in adults?
Screen time, that's the main thing. How can I make a normal class as interesting as the stuff that's going on in the virtual world? I can't focus. The more time I spend on my phone, I can't even focus. Adults can't even focus on a 5-minute conversation with their partners without being distracted. So yes, number one, of course, if you have a D3 deficiency, B12 deficiency, it affects your thinking. It affects your grasping power. Rare to find in children, but more common today because children don't have exposure to sunlight. Children are eating poor diets, so they're vitamin deficient. And these vitamins go in building your child's brain. Dehydration, big miss by parents. Very, very big miss. Okay, and I know it's not always the parents' fault. Sometimes the children don't want to drink water. The moment you start to dehydrate, 1% drop of hydration levels in the human body, the body moves into a sympathetic nervous system, which is stress. The first things that drop, cognitive function, blood sugar levels go up, all of these things. Keep your children hydrated. Because if cognitive decline happens, you can't focus. There is no way. Sugar. Children who are high on a sugar diet, high on high carbs, I'm talking about your white flours, your white breads, all of these things, they're going to have constant spikes in their insulin, which affects in adults, it causes something called mental confusion. Whenever your blood sugar levels rise too high, come down. If you've ever had a heavy carb lunch, and after lunch, you've tried to focus in a meeting and you feel your eyes just shutting, it's nothing but an insulin spike and crash happening. That happens in children as well. And there is no way they can focus. Aerated drinks, be careful of that because there's a lot of aspartame in it. There's a lot of sugar in it. So you want to start reading labels. Too much of sugar, too much of carbs will affect your child's cognitive power and stuff like that. And again, get your children to focus on little things. I'm a fan of a child having a timetable. Okay, let them have all the fun in the world, a timetable. So they know between 9 and 9:30, I'm doing this. Between 9:30 and 10, I'm doing this. Because you train the mind to move in compartments. That's how the human mind works. So they can still have all the fun in the world, but work with timetables. And that's how they learn to start being focused on small little things. If you find your child's focus is out, what kind of games are you giving them? Give them games that focus, that, you require patience. Because if we just say, oh, you don't like this, fine, let me buy a new toy. Oh, you don't like this, let me get you another new toy. We're not teaching them patience. We're not teaching them that, hey, there's a skill to be developed over there. So when they find easy ways out and shortcuts and they don't want to put in the effort of having to focus on something. So things like puzzles, there's magic in puzzles, whether they're boring or not, it teaches a child focus. It teaches a child patience. Video games will rob you of all of those things. So you want to keep a fine balance between both these things in your child's life.
So there is a parent who says, it's so interesting to see Mr. Luke finding a silver lining in all aspects of difficulties. What role should the parent do to inculcate such an attitude in their kids? Or as a parent, what are the key qualities that Luke finds that a parent needs to keep in mind for a smooth parent-child relationship?
So I'll be quite honest, that's not my trait. I learned that from my daughter. I learned that she always looks for good things that are happening. Whether it's a person, humans, we tend to find the negatives first. We find the faults first. I noticed that she would always find something so nice in someone or a plant or a tree or even a snake. We had an incident of a python and stuff like that. And before fear, she was, look at the beautiful skin. Wow, look how it's moving. Look how and that's what I've learned from her. Just look for beauty in everything. So it's again by example. So today, if there's something happening at home, for example, like, there's bad news that the third wave is coming. Yeah. But what's the silver lining? So we state something bad. What's the silver lining? That, hey, our medical systems are better equipped now. We have more doctors. Example, I'm giving you an example. Okay. It may not be the best yet, but I'm just giving you examples that, find a silver lining in it. Hey, you ate your turmeric this morning. Good. You ate your 2 fruits. Good. We have a strong immune system. We're ready to face what comes. So you make light of a situation without also creating falseness in it. You keep the truth in the situation. Okay, my mom, about 9 months ago, she had COPD. The doctor said she has 2 months left to live. Example, okay? She's still living with the grace of God. Still, there's a silver lining, okay? We explained it to Tiana. Tiana, we must spend all our time with grandma right now, all our time. And every evening she would be on the terrace sitting with grandma. There's a silver lining. Because at the end of the day, she knows everyone's going to die. So when we know everyone's going to die, and I want every parent to try this exercise with their kid today. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Ask your child, tell your child, that everyone's going to die at some point, everyone. So when you know this, what would you do differently now? And just check out the answers that come from your child. It's beautiful. You're teaching them 2 lessons that yes, everyone does die. And the answers that come out, I'll enjoy life. I'll make the most of what I had. I'll spend more time with my loved ones. It's beautiful. You've taught them a life and you've taught them the truth. A lot of kids and adults grieve so much. Of course, we grieve when people die because they're still in, how could it happen? How could she die? I mean, everyone dies, right? There's a certain truth that we accept. And children can learn this in a fun way, in a beautiful way, because they are going to see death. They are going to see it all around. And then it comes as a shock where their systems crash. They can't handle it emotionally. But when they know that, oh, this person died, I wonder if, it was painful. I wonder if he had time with his loved ones. It's beautiful. You just change the way they adapt and they think. So it all comes down to that. We should, as parents, when we start looking and trying to find goodness in life, even in the worst case scenario, they learn to do it as well. And that's, everything is leading by example, honestly. You want your kids to eat well, they should see you eating well. They see you eating badly. It's like the biggest complaint I have from children, that my mom and dad don't allow me to have ice cream. And I say, it's a good thing. They care for you. But then why do I see them in the night going to the fridge and eating ice cream? The thing is, you shouldn't have got caught if you wanted to do it, but you've just broken the lesson. They learn by example. So it's very important that whatever we want to teach our children, we are the walking, talking example for that. That's how it works. That's how it works.
So true. So true. Well, let's move on. So any tweak parents can make in their kids' nutrition close to examinations, or do brain health boosting foods actually make a difference in their cognitive abilities?
See, not really. If we are eating a balanced diet, we don't have to do anything special when exams come. Okay, most children can't focus or forget. It's because of the anxiety of the exam and all of that stuff. Sleep, get them to sleep. Because when you sleep well, you have more clarity automatically. So it's very rare that you'll find children who are not focused because they're not eating walnuts, or their brains are declining because they're not having omega-3s and stuff like that. Very, very rare. I still don't have, I think it's very rare that I have a kid where we increase the amount of walnuts and the parents came and said, hey, he's focusing better. We worked on lifestyles, reduction of screen time, better sleep, taking the anxiety out of the exam. How do you do that? Take the anxiety out of the exam. Hey, listen, you studied, there are check marks. These are checkpoints for you. Enjoy the process. You recreate the definition of an exam in your child's mind. They don't have to accept society's definition of an exam at all. Make light of it. Make light of it, keeping the importance at the same. It's the way you, like I said, it's the way you package a problem or an event. It all comes down to the way you package it. And of course, if a child is eating a diet that's not rich in omega-3s or vitamins, obviously they won't be able to concentrate. If they're having a high carb pasta meal and, studying after that, there's no way they're going to even be able to focus on their studies. So again, it comes down to balance. It comes down all to balance in your diet.
Right. There is an interesting question from a parent here who asks if it is, in today's world, is it okay to introduce children on a few supplements if the need really arises?
See, the definition of a supplement is to supplement a deficiency. if we are going to buy supplements because it's advertised so well and it makes a claim that your child is going to become a superhuman and stuff like that, absolutely not. Of course, we use supplements when it's needed. If I find a child deficient in D3, of course I'm going to supplement the child. If I find a child with low eyesight that's deficient in vitamin A, yes, of course we're going to supplement him with vitamin A if we cannot get the vitamins from food. Sometimes children have gut issues. They can't absorb nutrition. Then we need to give them a supplement. So always make an informed decision about a supplement. Always make an informed. We do it for adults, all the more for children. All the more for children. Of course, there are some children who live in areas where the nutrition from plants is compromised. It's growing from, areas where there are pesticides, where the soil volume of mineral content is very, very low. And these children have vitamin deficiencies. And then, of course, we use supplements again but remember, supplement is to supplement a deficiency. I mean, there are tons of adults who take like supplements every day, one for their brain, one for their hair, one for their eyes, and it's not solving problems. It isn't solving problems unless they have a deficiency. So we should try to get all of our vitamins through our food first. And if the child has a deficiency, under professional, because see, I'll tell you what, one of the biggest issues right now, a lot of parents are giving children zinc. Why? Because zinc is amazing when it comes to immunity and COVID. They don't understand that if you give them too much of zinc, copper drops in your body. The more zinc you have, the less copper you have. Now, copper is involved in your brain function of your child, the intestinal walls, the liver, the kidney, the eyes, the heart. So by giving them something that we think is good and just mindlessly giving it to them, we're creating a bigger problem. So there is synergy of vitamins. So if I'm giving zinc, I'm also giving copper if it's an extended period of time. Now, usually children can take a multivitamin if your GP allows you to take it because you find that my child is fussy, not eating vegetables, not eating fruits. So again, remember bio-individuality. You assess your child and say, hey, Luke, I think, my child doesn't eat greens. My child doesn't eat any fruits. And then he has a height problem. He's not growing. Yep, may need a multivitamin just to kind of, balance the vitamins that the child isn't getting. So remember bio-individuality. Whenever you look at your diet, your child's diet, health, it has to be looked at a unique perspective.
Right, Luke, I think we've had a wonderful session where I think most of the questions, there are, as I see, almost 200 questions still pending, but I think by largely you have addressed most of the issues. And then we have also posted a lot of your the links to your YouTube channels, which I think will address the issues, the questions that the parents have. And thank you for this informative session. Thank you for enlightening us. I think parents now will have a better approach towards parenting and have a more organic way of looking at things rather than running to the, a nearest supplement or other, options that make life easy. So parenting is not easy, as you said, but then, yes, our choices, making informed choices will definitely make it easy and better. So thank you so much, Luke, for taking time out and spending with us. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. If I can just leave everyone with this one thing, it's what we've learned over the last 10 years of, our specialty is cancer. So we're dealing with the deadliest diseases all the time. And what we've seen, because if someone says, Luke, today, what's the right diet? There is no right diet. I just want to leave everyone with the thought that we should never forget that there is an intelligence within us. There is an intelligence within every human being. We were born from that intelligence. Till date, no one knows how the fetus grows. No one knows. We just know it's a process of angiogenesis. No one knows what sparks it. We should never forget that there's an intelligence, and sometimes we have to allow that intelligence to do its work in our child, in our children, in ourselves. Every time there's a little problem, we don't have to jump onto it and look for complication. Sometimes we just got to give it space. Child not feeling well, let them sleep. There's mysteries and beauty and healing that happens when they sleep. They'll wake up the next morning, maybe absolutely fine. So remember that intelligence exists in everyone and allow for it to bloom. Most of us have compromised that intelligence because we're trying to go to extreme diets, beat ourselves up with exercise, sleep deprive ourselves, too much of stress. We don't allow the intelligence to work. So sometimes you've got to just step back and actually just wait, look at symptoms in a small way and allow the intelligence of the human body to kick in along with everything else that we do. Thank you so much for having me on this platform.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you
it.
so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Luke and Aruna ma'am, for that wonderful session. I'm sure many parents will have heaved a sigh of relief now. Dear parents, we hope most of your concerns have been addressed successfully by Mr. Luke. May I please request our co-founder, Mr. Yashwant Raj Parasmal, to propose a vote of thanks to Mr. Luke Coutinho.
Yeah, thank you so much, Luke, for enlightening us with the essentials of nutrition, the diet, the importance of sleep, and leading by example. I think I myself had made a lot of checkpoints for me as a parent, and I'm sure that same efforts would have been done by the parents as well. There are plenty of questions which are still unanswered, and I'd request all the parents to follow the YouTube channel of Luke. I mean, there's a plenty of good videos, especially directed at kids and adults alike, and I'm sure that will be very helpful to all of you. Thank you so much for joining and taking the session. Over to you, Parul. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Moving further, I feel honored to introduce a special guest and a keynote speaker of the day, Dr. Avinash D'Souza. Dr. Avinash is a consultant psychiatrist and a physiotherapist based in Mumbai. He has over 300 publications in national and international journals. He is one of the few psychiatrists who, in addition to psychiatry degree, has an MBA in human resource development, a master's in psychotherapy and counseling, and an MPhil in psychology. He is also the editor of a journal called the Indian Journal of Mental Health. The D'Souza Foundation has been the brainchild of Dr. Avinash D'Souza and his wife, Ms. Jaya D'Souza. The mission of the foundation is to promote education and awareness in the area of mental health. May I please request Dr. Avinash D'Souza to share some pearls of wisdom with us?
Am I audible? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Well, good morning, everyone. Bordering on to afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. And well, I am here as a psychiatrist and a psychotherapist who's primarily going to speak to you about just a few things, which is how to find happiness in online schooling and what parents can do so that their children enjoy online schooling and so that they face no problems in the entire online schooling process. The most important facet about online schooling, I think parents need to teach children is that the online school is not something that you can just do for the sake of doing. It is actually your school, and you got to do it with a lot of intent, with a lot of sincerity, with a lot of discipline, for the very simple reason that just because the school is online, it doesn't take away the essence of being in school. So it's very important that parents inculcate this sense of sincerity, that school is school, whether it's online or offline, and one has to be devoted, sincere, and focused even in an online session. You may have a nice place to sit, you may have a nice place where you can attend your online sessions, but that does not take away the essence of the fact that you got to be attentive. So I think that's my first point. My second point also is that why is school available in an online platform? School is available in an online platform so that you get the best faculties, you get the best education from different parts of the country, different parts of the world, so that you can come together. It's available at a time which is convenient to everyone. But what's very important here also is the fact that online school adds a whole new value in the form of various the use of computers, the use of graphics, the use of interface, multiple things that probably may not happen in a very regular classroom at times, unless you use all that machinery in a regular classroom. So that brings a certain amount of happiness. But I think there's a huge amount of online behavior that has to be maintained and that has to be sort of determined when it comes to online schooling. This online behavior would include, one, being ethical. I know a number of children who probably, while they're in online school, may indulge in opening multiple tabs, be on multiple gadgets, be on multiple sites, may be distracted, may even play a game. So the first ethical aspect is the sincerity aspect. Happiness in online schooling will come if you're sincere and you enjoy it just as you would enjoy regular school. The second aspect would be uh, the ethical angle when you're taking an exam online or when you're doing an assignment online. It's very important that the assignment is done with a lot of enjoyment. It's done with a lot of quest for knowledge, quest for research, quest to understand things. And it's not primarily done for the sake of doing it and finishing it. You have to do it because you enjoy learning that way. And you don't just copy paste, or you don't just submit anything online because you want to. It has to be original, it has to be sincere, it has to be dedicated, it has to be something which is your own. And I think that's what makes your assignment different from the assignments that others submit. Well, while most children manage online school on their own, I think a bit of parental supervision is necessary. The younger children need it far more. The older children also need it. You got to be aware of what they're doing online, with whom they are online, what's happening in school online. So a bit of the online safety angle while they're online for this long period of time has to be monitored. One has to be careful while doing this. One has to be vigilant. So preferably, yes, be a part of your child's online schooling process. It shouldn't be that he is all alone in a room for 5 hours or 6 hours of schooling and one isn't aware about what's really happening at that time. So it's important that we have a lot of parental involvement in the online schooling process. Another very important thing is look forward to the online schooling process. It shouldn't happen that if the school starts at 8 a.m., the child gets up at 7:45, just washes his face and enters school. No, it doesn't happen that way. I would request parents that, for a child to be happy when online, it's essential that he gets up earlier, he's ready, he eats well, he is probably ready for school around 15 or 20 minutes prior to school starting. He shouldn't be scrambling and entering school 10 minutes after the class starts. These are things which I think go a long way in cultivating the whole essence of happiness within the online environment. It's also vital that we make sure that everything he needs for the online school. It shouldn't happen that he's getting up on the pretext of getting a book, a ruler, a pen, or whatever. Everything should be there in a particular place at a particular time so that things are available. Little bit of interest from our end would go a long way in probably making this happen as well. What's also important is netiquette. Netiquette is the kind of language, the kind of behavior, the kind of demeanor you have when you're in an online schooling process. You don't answer out of turn. You give everyone a chance to answer. You make sure that you do not demean anyone in the online platform. You don't talk rudely to anyone in the online platform. You don't make fun of someone just because you're not in their presence in the online platform. So it's very important that that mutual respect for everyone has to be cultivated. It's very important that we respect that there may be some students who are slightly weaker, there may be some students who are very intelligent, we may have some students who are good in some subjects, some students who probably aren't very good in some subjects, and we respect the diversity of learners that you're going to experience in this online platform. So I think that's also another facet that goes a long way when we want to create a very happy school. One of the things also I would want students to do is talk to their teachers about various things. Talk to them about what you like about online schooling, what you don't like about online schooling, what you like about the interface, what you would want improved in the interface, what you would want removed, what you would want added, how you think the teaching learning process could be enhanced. And I think students are the best people to tell us how this could work, because they are far more digitally savvy than we are, and they're aware of many more things than we are. And of course, we have an entire tech team who can help you. So it's important that you speak to the people concerned with the online schooling process about what changes you want in the teaching learning process for this to happen. It's also very important that we teach our children to be happy by maintaining a digital, non-digital life balance. The child is going to be online for schooling. It can't happen that he's on a gadget 12 to 14 hours a day. It's important that he can't be on a computer 12 to 14 hours a day. Non-digital environments, digital-free environments, being in touch with nature. I know we may argue that in the current situation, we may not be able to sort of go out too much. Yes, but in your own compound, your balcony, your terrace, there are multiple areas where you can be digitally free. Reading a book physically than reading a book online. Uh, writing rather than primarily typing. So there are multiple facets where a child can be with nature, coloring offline rather than coloring online, physical activity being done offline. These are all activities where the family could get together and do it. And this would also go a long way in cultivating family warmth and family bonding. And at the end of the day, you could have a 1 hour digital free time where the entire family sits and talks about their day, what they did online, what they did offline, who they met, who they spoke to, what happened, the goods, the bads, everything that happened in the day, and the lessons learned, which I think would be a very good incident sharing experience for people in a family. And you would learn to respect each other's views. You would learn to understand that you all yourselves are diverse. You all may have different thoughts about different processes. And it would go a long way in cultivating respect between parents and the child. Last but not the least, what's very important is children also have to learn to understand that the online school gives them various options. They shouldn't be spoiled for choice. They have to be very clear about what they want and what they don't want. They must like doing the subjects that they're doing. They must like studying what they're studying. And they have taken up online schooling with a motto of probably getting the best form of education for them from all over the world online. So it's vital that they respect that. They shouldn't look at online school as an escape from school. They shouldn't look at online school as a method to deviate from school. No, online school is school itself, and online school is your school. So it's very important that as parents and children, you all get together and make this school a happy one. The most important facet is if you enjoy going to school, school doesn't remain school, it becomes home. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. This was indeed enlightening. And now I take the privilege of welcoming another special guest, Dr. Himanshu Mehta, who's despite of having a hectic schedule, kindly conceded to attend the inauguration. A world-renowned ophthalmic surgeon who has performed over 50,000 eye surgeries, Dr. Himanshu has been in practice for over 30 years. He graduated with a gold medal for his master's in surgery in ophthalmology from Mumbai University and did his super specialty training in vitreoretinal surgery from Houston, Texas, in the United States. Mr. Mehta is the current president of the Indian Intraocular and Refractive Society. He also has to his credit two laws which are patented internationally, the law of default and the watermelon principle. Dr. Mehta has been associated with the Leelavati Hospital, one of the top hospitals in Mumbai, for 18 years. His wealth of experience ensures that Leelavati Hospital stays at the forefront of the corrective eye surgery innovation and maintains the highest standard of patient care. May I please request Mr. Himanshu Mehta to kindly share some of his valuable experiences with us.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me this morning, and good morning to all the parents and students who are on this platform and all my fellow colleagues here. Thank you very much. At the onset, I'm reminded of Richard Bach, who said that there is no such thing as a problem without a gift for us in its hands. We seek problems because we need those gifts. Corona has come at a beautiful time in life. We've been fortunate in the past 30, 40 years that we haven't seen the First World War or the Second World War or the Beirut scenario or the 1929 depression. We haven't seen the plague era. We had to get on in this lifetime to see something unique. It's an opportunity for a lot of families to come together, a lot of people to see and interact what's going on in life, how can we behave to mishaps and misfortunes. A lot of our independence fighters were in jail for years together. We were there relatively in the lockdown in our own jail, confounded to our own perimetry of our own house. But you had home food, you had the warmth of your family, you had fresh air. What has happened over a period of time is because of excessive work from home, school from home, social media, and of course at night, any of the OTT platform. So about 6 to 8 hours of office or school time, 3-4 hours of social media because you had to update yourself. Kids had to go up on Instagram to write their own stories. They had to listen what's happening and who's eating what, dalgona coffee or what they have to make. So it took 3-4 hours for them over there. And to relax at night, you had to have a Netflix or another OTT platform to chill out before you go to sleep. As a result of this, there was use, overuse, abuse, and misuse of your eyes. So whether you were allowed to go to the gym and whether you went for a walk, or the cops stopped you from doing a walk outside in the area, whether you were gymming or you were using your muscles or not, whether you're using your hands or legs, but you are constantly straining your eyes at every given point of time, almost 14 hours a day. So in this corona pandemic, whether you got corona or not, what you definitely got was the eye pandemic. Today, every single day which I see, if I see 100 patients, 60 to 70% of them have some form of eye strain, fatigue, and some form of a problem which has been magnified over a period of time. Now, to tell parents, to let them understand that please get your children's eyes examined by the time they are 3, 3.5, or 4 years old. And especially if the mother or the father or the maternal or the paternal side have history of glasses, please see to it that you don't wait for the child to complain. The standard dictum when the patient comes to me at 8 years of age or 10 years of age, the parent gets them, but my child never complained. Well, let's look at it from the child's perspective. I've not been to Tashkent. So you put me in Timbuktu and I'll say, yeah, this is Tashkent. So the child always thought that this is how the world looks. They never realized what they were missing out. And I have had quite a few parents who have told me that, they used to shout at their children because they would go very close to the television set. A lot of them kept going very close to their notebooks to read. Now, this is not because they love doing that. Of course, they might love to disobey you at times to check you out as a parent. But quite often, they could not read. So the indirect hint given to the parent was that the child needed some kind of a spectacle correction to see the world properly, and it was missed out. Now, there is something called lazy eye, which I want most parents to be aware of. If you have numbers in your eyes, and sometimes, fortunately and unfortunately, you may have no number in one eye and a huge number in the other eye. If that happens, it's called anisometropia. And in that case, what happens is you get a lazy eye in that eye. You're not able to see properly from that particular eye, and a lazy eye can give rise to a squint. I want this very clear to most parents to understand, whether corona, no corona, whether digital strain or not. These are symptoms you must pick up for the child, get them examined primarily by 3, 3.5 or 4. And if they are blinking their eyes a bit too much, or if they are rubbing their eyes, they will keep getting allergies. Remember, your human body is absolutely fantastic. It gives you signals. It gives you very strong signals of various kinds. If you're not sitting the right way, or if your shoe is not properly put up, you can't wear a left leg shoe in your right leg. It will tell you. There is a body language. If you're sitting and it's hurting you, you will not be able to sit for a long period of time. So if you find your children either squinting occasionally and or rubbing their eyes regularly, or discharge from their eyes, or if they keep getting allergies or conjunctivitis as people call it, please get them examined. Don't take it lightly. One of the self-tests which I would recommend every parent to do at home in your own environment once in a month or two for children is, while watching television or whatever, close one eye of the child and make them read whatever they were reading, and close the other eye and make them read. With both eyes, quite often you can see most of the stuff, but when one eye is covered up, you realize which eye is seeing less. This applies to adults also. So some basic things that I would want to make out: get your children examined when you're 3, 3.5, 4 years old. If they have family history, they definitely need to be examined. If the elder sibling has a number, you need to get them examined too. If there are signs, symptoms that the child is showing of itching, rubbing, whatever that you can see, do not neglect. Lot of times parents come to me saying that, squint is normal in childhood. I've been told by my grandparent that don't worry, the squint will disappear with age. Absolutely false. Squint is a great sign, and if treated in time, and most often than not, the treatment of squint is a number, pure simple glasses. If it is not done in time, it can give rise to a lazy eye and a squint. So do not neglect those symptoms given by the body. Once again, I'm repeating. Now comes the time of the digital age. Just to let you know, because this is a query come to me from the last 20 years, from the time software became big and parents wanted to change the career for their children by not letting them take up computer science or maths or anything to do with computers earlier on, or the coding languages, thinking that computers can ruin your eyes. Let me give you a live example. Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, all have used more computer than most of the kids combined and of the parents. And you see Mark is still without glasses. I had the pleasure of examining in 91, 92 Bill Gates. He's got still the same number. What I'm trying to impress upon you is that numbers are not because of television and your cell phone nor your computer. This is a misnomer. Most often than not, it is genetic. Very important, because more than 90% of parents keep blaming. And what has happened, it's a funny incident that I can tell you. When the mother tells that, look, my daughter is watching television for such a long time, she rebuts on the next sentence, but mom, you are watching more television than me. Well, the extension of your hands, eyes, movement is the computer today. It's going to be there, it's here to stay. So your laptop, iPad, cell phone, whatever you have, any kind of media, it's here to stay. How do we live with it peacefully and symbiotically is what we have to understand. Well, as I said, using is not bad. That means 6 to 8 hours of work on your laptop and or whatever. But overuse up to a certain extent is okay. But misuse and abuse, reduce the social media time, take a commitment from them that this is the amount of time that they're going to spend. Reduce the television watching time. And one of the studies in Singapore, because the Chinese have small eyes and they have higher chances of numbers because they have smaller structure. And as a result of which, they did a study in Singapore where they made children study like Rabindranath Tagore under the yum yum tree. So they took them out in the open. So make them read in the open, closed areas without sun, without UV rays, and a lot of strain on nearby in closed terms. If you keep doing something close, your eye muscles also have muscles. Just as you have your biceps, triceps, and you have other muscles in the body, the eyes also have external muscles and internal muscles. They can undergo fatigue, they can undergo problems, and there could be eye strain, fatigue, headache. So if you get eye strain, fatigue, irritability, be worried, your numbers could have changed. For children, get their eyes examined every 6 months, ever so often in school, because you know how the growth spurts happen. There could be no growth spurt for 8 months or 1 year, and suddenly there's a growth spurt within 3-4 months. Hormones change at their own pace. So regular examination is mandatory. Give good diet. Of course, a lot of parents come and ask me about carrots. Well, vitamin A deficiency is definitely important for the eyes, that we do not have vitamin A deficiency. But this is more so in slum areas, not necessarily with urban children. So a lot of mothers force children to have carrot juice. Nothing wrong in that, because you're giving good habits. It's an antioxidant, excellent fiber, but don't be under that misrepresentation that if you have carrots, your numbers will go down. Because as I tell parents, that if carrots could give the numbers down, then every doctor would be selling carrots and every chashmawala would be selling carrots. It doesn't work that way. There's a lot of genetic element in the whole thing. Take care of your eyes. They were given free, but taking care of them for the rest of your life is your problem. Do not be scared by the digital era. It's there. The quantum computing is coming. The virtual reality is coming. It's way beyond what we see is going to be coming still. And your eyes are going to be overused. You have a full lifetime with kids. With the longevity increases, the kids have another 100, 150 years left of their life. So make them understand it was given free. They take care of their cell phone, their laptop, they take care of their shirt, trousers. But most often than not, everything that was given free is never taken care of. And this is very common with adults also. And I've seen adults saying that, I get my car serviced every 5,000 kilometers without fail. I get the oil cleaning done. But ask them, in last 40 years, have you gone for an eye checkup? Never. So be worried for yourself. Like classically in the airlines, they tell you, have the oxygen mask for your own self before you give it to the child. So get yourself examined, get your children examined, and what you do is what children will do, not what you say. So if you keep on watching a lot of OTT media and your social media, they are going to do the same. In fact, they have a higher tendency to do the same. And now that the lockdown is opening up gradually, outdoor activities should be encouraged in a big way. Use the right lubricants, use the right vitamins. Don't worry, nothing is going to happen terribly wrong because of the pandemic. I would invite any question, ma'am, if you have anything to ask. Thank you very much for inviting me. You're muted, ma'am.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Himanshu. I think that was a beautiful, talk that we just heard from you. It was so enlightening. I think this is the need of the hour for all our parents who are so worried and concerned about the perils of the screen time that the students are engaged in. And I don't think there is much that, they're constantly looking for solutions and suggestions on how to reduce that. Can't help it. The pandemic has sent everybody on a virtual platform, whether it is schooling or entertainment. So I think curbing that becomes a rather a challenge for most parents. And then once the children are hooked, I don't think there is much to do. And just some time before you, we had Mr. Luke here, who was talking about model the behavior, when you're talking about a healthy lifestyle or anything. He was saying that, if you want your children to have certain practices, you need to model that behavior. I think this is as much as it goes even for us when we're talking of, if we are on the mobile the whole day, I don't think we're giving our children very good lessons over here. So on behalf of 21K crew, the staff, the parents, the children, we thank you for, from the bottom of our hearts, for taking time out and, spending time with us. We are so appreciative and obliged for that, Dr. Himanshu. I am not too sure if there are many questions. So can I ask the panelists if there are any questions?
I can see a question for me. Question to me that there's a lot of YouTube videos saying that eye muscle exercises can help in reducing eye number. Absolutely false. Doing exercises is not a problem at all. But if eye exercises could reduce the number, why would we be doing lasers? So I don't want to reduce your understanding about that. As I said, whether you use your heart muscle or your leg muscles or not, constantly your eye muscles are being exercised. So don't be under any misnomer that an eye exercise can reduce. It's not that I'm saying about modern medicine, I'm against the previous principles, but this is a fact of life. I just wanted to reduce that because this is a common question asked to us. And the other question is, do you recommend computer glasses? Not really, you don't need to wear them. Give them the correct number. A lot of people want to make money on this. So, it's very easy. A lot of time, despite me telling them that you don't need any kind of therapy, parents don't listen and they want to go for some therapy. After 5 years, they come back and tell me you were right. So numbers grow up with age and height. It has nothing to do with your other stuff. Do you recommend computer glasses? I don't necessarily recommend, but that will not reduce the strain. No, nothing has been proved that the radiation from the computer can really mess up your eyes. So don't worry about that. One more question. I suffered from tired eyes and I feel tiredness, fatigue, irritation. Yes, ma'am. So this is from Bishka, that suffer from tired eyes where I feel tired, discharge, fatigue. Now this is what I said. This is the modern eye syndrome. Get your eyes examined. You might need a number change, some hormonal status checkup, and some lubricant eye drops. How much time of screen time is good? Well, with multiple intervals that you can have. Blink your eyes more often, because the moment you are on any cell phone or any computer screen, you tend not to blink. So normal blinking is 4 to 5 times in a minute, and that is like a wiper to clean your eyes. So take a break ever so often. That's why the 20-20-20 kind of a scenario. Every 20 minutes, take a break for 20 seconds, blink 20 times. This is the computer vision syndrome scenario. Drink well, eat well, do some palm compresses, look out, change your muscle strain, look outside. Astigmatism, Shakuntala is asking, what is astigmatism? Don't worry, ma'am, the routine eye is like a cricket ball. The x-axis, y-axis is the same like a cricket ball. Whereas if it's a rugby ball, the x-axis, y-axis is not the same, you can get astigmatism. It's a kind of a number, don't get worried. A lot of people have astigmatism. So don't worry about that. Does one operated eye can affect the other good eye? Not at all. God has been very kind. He gave you an extra eye. So even if one eye has been operated, the other remains the same. If you lost one eye, Pataudi was the cricket captain of this country with only one eye. There are millions of people in this world with one eye. Don't worry about it. Kid is having squint eye sometimes. Now, quit that squint eye. I told you, ma'am, Hana, that if your kid has squint eyes, do get it examined as early as possible. You cannot be sitting on it. Period. Lubricant eye drops can be used. Yes, absolutely can be used frequently as long as there is no steroid or antibiotics in it. I have headaches sometimes and I can't tolerate light. What would that mean? That means you have light sensitivity. Headaches is not necessarily because of this. They are multifactorial. You possibly not sleeping well and you have excessive eye strain. Get yourself examined. My child is having itching and discharge. Ma'am, yes. The Dravin Single is asking, my child is having itching and discharge, dirty glue from his eyes when he goes to sunlight. So this is what I was trying to tell you. Your child might be having a number. Get your child's eyes examined. This is exactly what I was. So good. I'm happy that you asked those questions.
Doctor, there is one here. What are the suggestions from ophthalmologists on gadgets suggested for attending school, like screen or setup?
Say again, what is your question? Gadgets?
So I think it is about schools suggesting gadgets for attending school, like, screen time or something like that. Or do the children need to wear blue light rays?
No, I just answered that. They don't need to wear that. It's not going to matter at all. Yes. There are some companies who would like to make money, so they're propagating that. There's a good question from Kumar. My younger child has minus 2.5 power glass. What can I do to reduce his power number? You can't do anything. Good diet, good healthy habits, looking out, playing outside, getting themselves examined regularly. If one child has a number, check the other eye also. Numbers can go up till the age of 18, till the time the height increases. LASIK is a fantastic option later. Do not be dismayed by the fact that your child has a number. On a statistical ground, if I was to give you the Gaussian curve, almost 66% of children have numbers. 1/3 wearing glasses, 1/3 don't know they have a number, and 1/3 know but they don't wear. This is the standard average distribution in the glasses scenario. So don't get it. How much time kids should be used? As I said, 6 to 8 hours with breaks in between. Continuous use of same medicine affect the eye? Yes, of course. Why should you use any medicine routinely? So don't use unnecessarily anything. What is the correct age to get laser done? After 18. So after 18 can be, especially fourth grade age. No, you cannot do it at 4th grade. Laser cannot be done and should not be done. Take care of eyes when the child complains of pain. She already has a number. Well, do palming. Check the number again, because the numbers could have changed in children quite often, or they have a habit of going very close. They might be having some wrong habits, because that can give you more strain. There is a 33 centimeter distance that you can have, and that this distance should be maintained. Otherwise, you can get pain and other problems. Can we use lubricants for kids? Yes, you can use lubricants, but why? God has been kind. Your tear film has been made by God free of charge. So unless you misuse it, there's no need to use any kind of lubricant eye drops unnecessarily. Blu-ray glasses, I answered, not really required at all. My left eye hurts whenever I have a headache. So that is classically could be a migraine, Avantika. So left eye hurts, so blackout, Ada CC, migraine. Thank you. In color blindness curable? No. Very important question, Arush. Is color blindness curable? No way. It's genetic. Don't get worried about it. A lot of people are living with it very well, so don't worry about that at all. It is not treatable. You cannot operate on it. There's no medication for it. Can we try Blu-ray glasses? We've done that. Not required. Yellow. My eyes slide yellow for some time. What should I do? Yellow means you have to figure out whether there is excessive dryness, whether there is any vitamin deficiency. Get yourself examined. Screen kid 33 centimeters. So can we use powerless glasses? Why? Why do you want to use anything? Chashmalas will be happy, the business will grow if I tell you yes. Why do you want? If you need, don't spare it. But if you don't need, you don't need to use it. So any other questions? Yes, yeah, my child has lazy eyes and she is 14 years. So any natural, there is Advika, please understand, 14 years is a little on the higher side of normal. Your lazy eye could have been treated at the age of 6, 7, 8. It cannot be treated after that. So please get urgent treatment. You have occlusion treatment for this lazy eye. So you need proper treatment. I think that's, kids get migraine, ma'am, kids and everybody, we are all adult and kid, they also can get.
There is one question here, doctor, which says that can we get laser surgery done if we have diabetes?
Yes, of course. I mean, I'm talking of kids who might do surgery. All right, they may become diabetics later. You mean to say I shouldn't have done it? So yes, you need to get your sugar control, and you need to see that the retina is normal. If the retina is normal, if your eyes are normal, yes, diabetics have their own sweet parts of problems, but can it be done? Yes, it can be done. No special, there are some special glasses which will come for color blindness later. Reading a book, I feel like skipping some words. Interesting question, very insightful. Your mind is running very fast, Dinesh. You're multi-talented person possibly, so you're thinking of something else while reading something else. So get your numbers also examined. So that's it. Focus is a very important thing, and this is a very common problem with people. So as I said, a lot of it is while watching television. So reduce television. Also, become red after giving eye drops. So go ahead, write to me later, and I can talk to it, because otherwise we'll go on. And then thanks very much for having me.
Yes. So thank you so much, Dr. Himanshu. I know you've just come out from a surgery, and you would want some time now to yourself. Thank you so much. We are so appreciative.
Pleasure interacting with everybody. All the best to all the children. Good days coming ahead in life.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Well, that was really wonderful. And now, on behalf of the entire 21K crew, I would like to express my gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Jitendra Varvani, who spent his busiest time gracing the occasion. Our second chief guest, Mr. Luke Coutinho, for inspiring us. Our special guest and the keynote speaker, Dr. Avinash D'Souza, for all the words of wisdom that radiated a source of energy within us, and Dr. Himanshu Mehta for giving us an opportunity to observe his insights. A heartfelt thanks to all the speakers for adorning the occasion and sharing your thoughts today. We are also inspired with your work as well as words. Also, with a very special mention, I would like to thank our respected founders, Mr. Santosh Kumar, Mr. Joshi Kumar, Mr. Dinesh Kumar, and Mr. Yashwant Raj Parasmal, and our venerable principal ma'am, Ms. Aruna Shetty, for inspiring us to do our best. With a deep sense of appreciation, we thank you all for your untiring efforts. I would also like to thank the parents and the founding parents for their continued support. Students, teachers, coordinators, school partners, Tried Learning, curriculum partners, Oxford University Press, Cambridge University Press, and Century Tech. Last but not the least, I would like to thank the admission, operations, and the tech support crew and their families for their continuous support and efforts. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. கடைசியில எது கூப்பிடாதீங்க